Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Marissa. So a little over a year ago, I posted a video on here about something that was really personal to me. And at the time, only my close friends and like my immediate family knew about it. Other than that, nobody else really had any idea. So 2 years ago now, I got myself out of a very, very toxic and manipulative situation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I posted a video in March of last year about it, but really long story short, when I was 16, my cheerleading coach at the time started dating someone, and he came around to everything. Team dinners, practices, games, competitions, you name it, he was there. And I would say like a year into their relationship, he had gotten really close with my family in that year. And then right before my senior year in high school, he started paying a lot more attention to me and talking to me a lot more. And that talking to me every day about school and my friends and things that were like seemingly normal, eventually took a turn. And the messages got inappropriate and physical things started happening. And that whole situation lasted 9 years. And I feel like, especially over the last year, not a lot of people fully understand the situation, which you can't really understand the situation unless you were me. And unless you were in it. I know it's out of the ordinary, I guess, to hear about someone being manipulated like that as a teenager, and then me saying it lasted like well into my 20s. But I feel like when you're so like young and naive and like vulnerable when something like that starts, people who are really good at manipulating intentionally isolate you and beat you down. And basically, I was beaten down to the point where he knew that when he built me back up, he would build me back up into someone who like couldn't be without him, if that makes sense. I really lost who I was for 9 years. And I mean, I had friends and I was still like making jokes and blah, blah, blah. So nobody ever really knew what was going on. When I like look back on who I was for 9 years, it like makes me physically sick. Over those 9 years, I mean, like I said, I was really vulnerable when it started. I had never dated anybody in middle school or high school. So I think that if I had been in a relationship prior to that, I would have noticed more signs, but I hadn't. And he knew that I hadn't. So I think that just made it more easy for him to take advantage of a situation and do what he did. I was a completely different person. And I had two sides to me. And when I was out with my friends, or I was coaching, or I was with my family, it was like I had like blinders on. And I would flip a switch and I would put on a show for everybody, like making jokes and making it seem like everything was totally fine. And then I would go home and be really depressed and not wanting to get out of bed and wanting to quit every job that I had because I just couldn't like get the energy to do anything at all. So 2 years ago, I got myself out of that situation. There wasn't even like a specific turning point. It's not like there was a day where I just said, oh wow, I know that this is horrible, let me leave. I had been in therapy for like years, like leading up to this. And before I went to therapy, I was going because I knew I was depressed. And then when I met her and was talking about everything. It hadn't occurred to me until she said it that this toxic relationship wasn't like the main issue that I was feeling the way that I was. The fact that he met me when I was 16 and he was 30, like that was the problem. I had heard of the term like being groomed before and things, but even going through it, I had no idea what was going on. I saw him as someone who was close to my family and he was always around, and he would come to practices and like crack jokes with everybody. And people who are really good at manipulation tend to be that way. Like if you were to meet him, you would think that he was normal and charismatic and whatever, but that's because they're really good at what they do. And my family fell for that, and I fell for that. And 9 years later, I ended up getting out of that situation, and I got a restraining order taken out on him. So I posted that video a year ago, and I just want to kind of talk about where I'm at a year later. So now it's been 2 years since I left that. In the last year, I am still like super cautious anytime I'm anywhere by myself, if I'm anywhere in the dark, anytime I come to my apartment complex and I get out of my car. I always make sure that I call my mom, doesn't matter what time it is, or I call somebody. Because I always had like bad feelings like that growing up, just because I was like hyper aware of anything could happen. But when this situation kind of unfolded, I don't know, it's different. It's different when you know that there's someone out there who like wants to make it their goal to hurt you. Growing up, I watched a ton of crime shows like with my mom, so I was always aware that there were bad people out there. But now the bad person out there, like I'm his like end goal or main target, I guess you could say. So it's just different. And I had to change my phone number. I got a new phone. I've gotten comments on social media platforms that I've had to delete or whatever the case is. So even 2 years removed from the situation, there are still things happening. Aside from all of those things, there's still other parts of that situation that kind of follow me all the time. Anytime I date anybody or go out on dates, like trusting people is really, really hard. Genuinely wanting to meet someone and tell them about me, that's hard. Telling anyone about this situation is really hard. I still don't know how to really like navigate how to do that. I can't just not tell anybody, but if it ever comes up in conversation or if people ask, I'm always inclined to just be upfront about it. I didn't tell anyone for a really long time, so just getting it out there is a lot easier than pushing it down and pretending like it didn't happen when it's a huge chunk of like who I am now. A few months ago, I was seeing someone and we'd been talking for a couple months. We'd gone out on a few dates. I met all of his friends and I thought things were like going somewhere. And then randomly one day he like completely ghosted me. It's been a few months since that and I still have no idea like what happened there. But when that first happened, it took me like a few weeks to kind of come around. I don't know. I feel like when he just like, it went from talking all day, every day for months to not speaking to me at all, like I didn't even exist. I kind of got myself in like a really weird place for a few weeks. just kind of thinking like that's the closest to a relationship I've been my entire life. And I thought that it was going to turn into something, and I was really, really confused when it didn't. And when it didn't, I did what anybody else would probably do, and I thought, like, it must be something with me. I must have done something, said something, whatever. And then I started thinking, like, obviously I'm not good enough. And then I really got myself into a bad spot, and I was thinking that situation that I was in for all those years, that was absolutely horrible, and made me feel horrible about myself. I got myself to thinking, like, that's probably the best that I could do. That's probably the situation that I deserved, because why else would someone just abruptly stop talking to me? After a few weeks, I kind of like climbed out of that hole. I'm a pretty like when it rains it pours kind of person. I'm a lot better than I used to be, but when things like that happen, I think the absolute worst about myself, about the situation, about my future. I've been in a kind of a funk like the last couple days for some reason. I don't know. I feel a lot like I'm waiting for something that like might not ever happen, I guess. I have this like fear that someone's not going to feel the same, or it's just not going to work out, or that I'm never going to find anyone. And like my biggest fear all time ever is not getting married or having kids. So that's something that I tend to overthink when things don't work out with people. But I'm trying to be better and going to therapy, talking to my friends. I have a really good support system at work, which is really, really helpful. I don't want this video to be sad every year. So now I'm going to talk about some of the good things that have happened over the last 2 years. I've been able to coach more teams, and coaching is my favorite thing to do. It's what I love to do the most. And I don't think I would have been able to do all of this and give this much time to cheerleading than I have specifically this year. I have really great coworkers who I cannot picture my life without. And they're like the most supportive people. They can see when I'm not having a great day and when I'm in a funk, and they know exactly what to say and how to handle it. I feel like this year specifically, the three of us like needed each other the most this year. So it just so happened that we're all in the same classroom when we all kind of needed to lean on each other at certain points this year. So that's been kind of my saving grace. I look forward to getting out of bed every day and going to work. That's not something that I've ever really had. But when you go to work with people that you love and people that have your back, and you know you're going to go to work to joke around and be with these kids that are really great, it like makes everything so much easier. I've gotten a lot closer with people in my family because I'm not that angry person that I was when that situation was going on. I used to be angry all the time. Like at the drop of a hat, my personality would completely change, and people probably just thought I was a brat, but they didn't really know that on top of whatever minor inconvenience happened that day, I also had the weight of like something horrible at the same time. I mean, I still have rough days or things that frustrate me, but those inconveniences aren't like setting me over the edge like they used to. Now they're just things that I roll with and have to push past and move forward. From here, based on where I was last year when I posted the first video, I'm finding myself a lot more, and what I like, what I don't like, what I expect out of myself, what I expect out of other people. I've always been a no BS kind of person, and now I really am that way. My biggest fear is like settling in life. I have a lot of fears, but I don't want to settle and be with someone who's not right for me. I don't want to settle in a life that I don't like. I spent a really long time not really finding my way, and I feel like I'm finally kind of getting in a place where I know who I am and I've like found my footing a lot more. I wouldn't have gone this far to like only get this far. I still have a long way to go. There's still like healing that I have to do, and there's still things that I want out of my life that I don't have right now. But thought I would do another video another year later, and I'll probably do these every year just to kind of see the growth and where I am and who I am as a person. But if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I didn't expect people to watch that video a year ago, but a lot of people did, which I really appreciate. I think this is something really important to talk about. Thank you for watching. That is the end of the video. I've just been rambling for a half hour. I've been thinking about things that I've wanted to say for days, and I didn't even really know what was going to come out when I started recording. But I just wanted to reflect another year later, and now it's been 2 years, and I think things will just keep getting better. But thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn your post notifications on. Bye.